Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Chasing Rabbits. My name is Scott Brown, and you have found my vlog dedicated to trying to help you become the leader that you always wished that you had worked for. So tonight I want to talk about something that we seem to be losing a little bit in our society, even more than just a little bit, I think, and that is civility. Yes, civility. Now, civility is normally thought of as a politeness, a camaraderie, an acceptance. A civil relationship is one where both sides, battery's dying, where both sides are willing to listen to each other. Even if you don't agree with each other, you're still willing to work together. You're willing to be polite to each other, to be respectful of each other. And it seems to be losing a little bit these days in society. I'll give you a couple of examples. If you're paying any attention to the news today, you know that Texas is going through quite a devastating cold snap, and their power grid has failed in many ways. There are hundreds of thousands of people that are without power, without water, without basic necessities right now. It's a bad situation in Texas, and Texas is the only state in the U.S. that is not on the national power grid, and it's a horrible situation that's happening there. Well, there's a story that came out today that in one of the smaller Texas cities, the mayor of this small city was forced to resign when he came out and had a lengthy post that he actually threw on social media. I think it might have been on Facebook, about how he was tired of individuals looking for handouts, about how if you didn't have water, you needed to think outside of the box and use the snow. If you didn't have heat, that wasn't his responsibility. That wasn't somebody's responsibility to give you heat. You should be taking care of that and providing for that on your family, implying that as an elected official, it wasn't his responsibility to look after those of whom he was elected to serve. And that's a really dangerous slope to go down. I think that it's when you start to put yourself into a position of authority that you're not willing to look after those with whom you've been entrusted, it's a very dangerous situation to put people in when people's lives are in danger. There's a lack of civility within that relationship of thinking, however I think, I must be right and you must be wrong, and I don't care if it harms you if I'm right. And that's not the way society is supposed to work. We're supposed to have civil relationships. Even if we don't always agree with somebody, you're not supposed to attack them. You're not supposed to put them in harm's way because you don't agree with them. That's not the way society is supposed to work. But that's kind of one of those detached types of situations that unless you live in that part of Texas, you're not necessarily going through that. And certainly my heart goes out to everybody in Texas who's going through the situation right now without water, without power, without electricity, without heat. It's an awful situation. They figured out how to get through hurricanes. This is not the same thing. It's completely different. My heart goes out to them. But when you come to civility, sometimes that lack of civility bleeds over into personal relationships. And it seems to be okay. And I think this is becoming even more prevalent. During this year, we've been disconnected from everybody, where all of our relationships happen either impersonally. This is a rather impersonal connection that we have right now. I'm here talking to a camera, and you're out there in the world listening. Like right now, I know Chad Cooper is probably sitting in his living room wearing shorts and an LSU t-shirt, thinking about football season, hanging out in 80-degree weather. Is not really a personal relationship, even though I know him. He was my neighbor, and we're friends. It's just a different type of dynamic that we have currently going on right now. But a lot of folks, because we have been disconnected, they think that sitting behind a keyboard gives them more power. They're called keyboard warriors. And all too often this disconnection, whether it's through keyboard warrior where you're trolling somebody, or whether you take it up a step to really do something that's hateful to somebody else, that lack of civility is really becoming a little bit more prevalent. And I found it in my life this year. I'm closing in on, I've I've been a program quality director for Toastmasters now for about 7 months, somewhere around there, since I was elected in April, took office in July. We're now at the end of February, so I'm a little over 6-7 months since I've been in office. I won the election in April, contested election. I ran against somebody else. District voted. I got more votes. I was elected to the office. No big deal, right? Wrong. Because shortly thereafter, I started getting hate mail. And I've never gotten hate mail before. And I know I talked once previously about my first troll. And I think troll is different than hate mail. Trolls are somebody who you know who the person is. There is a connection. Like, I know exactly who the person is that was trolling me. I don't know who it is that is sending me hate mail. Because it started out electronic. I started getting hate mail electronically right after the election about how dare I run for this office and how dare I win. Well, I had every right to run, and the district voted, and that's how I won. So it wasn't something that I did that made this person mad. Well, it started with emails. I got a couple of emails March, got out in May, got 2 in May, I think I got 1 in June, maybe 1 in July, and then it kind of went away for a while. And then fall came and I got another one in October. But the one in October I got was a little bit different because instead of it being an electronic email, I got a letter. Someone took the time to sit down and write out a letter about how much they hated me because I had won this election back in April. And then I got another one in December. And the one in December was a whole different tone. They rewrote the Grinch and put me into the Grinch, which I thought was actually somewhat clever, painful and disgusting, but still kind of clever. And then I got another one today. I got another one today that kind of went back to the original tone of just pure unadulterated hate. And when I say hate, there's no denying that the person would love to see me keel over and die because they think that I am just a waste of life. I know that because they said that they think I'm a waste of life. So there's a hate that goes there. But I don't think this would happen if there was that opportunity to have a personal connection. But because we're so separated right now, that because the pandemic has quarantined people, we don't see each other, we don't go to interact with people on a regular basis, on a personal basis, it's easier to just lash out and hold a grudge and be mean-spirited to other people because you're not connected, because there's not that relationship. And with distance, sometimes you feel more powerful. You feel that nothing can happen to you because you're hiding behind anonymity. You're hiding behind anonymity of a keyboard. You're hiding behind anonymity of an unsigned letter from Indianapolis. So civility is something that all leaders, when you put yourself out there, have to be aware that your job is to act civil towards everybody. It doesn't matter if you personally like them or not. It doesn't matter if you personally agree with them or not. You need to be civil in terms of how you relate to them. You need to have respect for them. You need to treat them with dignity. It doesn't matter if you like them. That's okay. And I started to see it online a little bit today too when the announcement of Rush Limbaugh came out. Whether or not you like the guy or not, it doesn't matter. He was someone's husband, he was someone's father, he was someone's friend. And for that, we should mourn the life. It doesn't matter if we agreed with him or not. We should mourn the life. He made an impact on American society. He was well known, and it doesn't matter if we like him or not, he was a human being, and we should have respect for that. The same way that I shouldn't be getting hate mail because I won an election back in April, I shouldn't still be getting hate mail today from individuals who are still mad at me for something that I was elected to do 7 months ago. To me, it's inexcusable that that's still happening. But how I respond is something that only I can control. Am I going to lash back out? No, I'm not. But I am concerned. I am very concerned that there are folks out there that have such a visceral reaction to me that it detracts from what I'm trying to do, that it detracts from the message that I'm trying to send. And if you find yourself in a situation where there's a lack of civility to you, you have two choices. You can either respond with a lack of civility back to that person, which does nothing but further damage a relationship, or you can try and reach out to them with empathy. And empathy isn't the same as sympathy, and it's not the same as civility. Empathy is walking in their shoes, walking with them. helping to understand what they are going through, because the lack of civility oftentimes isn't because of something you did. Me getting hate mail is nothing because of something that I did. It is something within the individual or individuals who are sending me the hate mail. I need to work with them, though. I need to help them work through that. So the reason why I'm talking about this tonight is I really don't know who it is. And I'm really not going to try and track them down with handwriting experts or anything. That's not a thing. I'm not going to do that. But I'm hoping that if that individual or individuals are watching, or if you know who those individuals are, I just want to have a conversation. I want to have a civil relationship. I want to be able to have a dialogue and to help end whatever this is, because it's unhealthy both for them, for me, for the district, for everybody else that we're involved with. When we are lashing out, there's nothing positive that happens. So if you're out there, if you're one of my followers, if you're one of my friends, one of my Toastmaster friends, especially here in District 11 in Indiana, and you know who it is who's sending me the hate mail, let them know that I offer them no ill will, but I do want to try to repair the relationship for whatever it means, for whatever it is that they're going through because I was elected. I want to help solve it. I want to help mend that fence. And I want the hate mail to stop. I really do want the hate mail to stop. It's not healthy. It's just not healthy for them or for me. When you're upset and you lash out, what you're really doing is, I think it's more a reflection of you than it is of the other individual. So be careful of how you treat others. Know that civility carries on. Civility is one of the tenets of leadership. If you can't treat people in a civil way, you shouldn't be stepping forward to be a leader, because you're going to be leading folks that maybe don't like you, that you don't like, that you don't agree with, that don't agree with you, that have different ideologies than you. And it's the part of leadership that really separates the good from the bad. It really separates those that make a difference from those that are just in it for personal gain. So regardless of what someone does to you, know that you always have the option of how you're going to respond to it. You can respond with kindness and empathy, or you can respond in like. Responding in like never helps the situation. So look for those opportunities to display empathy. And if somebody out there is not being civil to you, it doesn't mean that you get to not be civil to them. It means that you get to reach out and be empathetic to them and try to solve whatever the situation is. So once again, if you know who it is out there, let me know. I would love to know who this person is. Be completely anonymous, and I just want to be able to help mend this fence. That's all. So until tomorrow, I wish you all a wonderful night. Have a fantastic evening, and I will see you tomorrow for another edition of Chasing Rabbits. And until then, toast on, my friends, toast on.